Nostalgia about stores and shops we used to visit in our childhoods is oddly different. These are the 25 lost shops we wish were still around. Number 25. Walden Books. Take a look at this picture and tell us if you can smell the books in the store. We have great childhood memories of going to Walden Books with our parents. Walden Books was an American shopping mall-based bookstore chain operated by the Walden Book Company, and from 1995 was a subsidiary of Borders Group. The chain also ran a video game and software chain under the name Walden Software, as well as a children's educational toy chain under Walden Kids. In 2011, the chain was liquidated in bankruptcy. Stopping at the bookstore was our favorite hangout when we needed to kill time waiting on someone at the mall. We used to read comic books for hours without buying them. If you remember, in the mid-90s, there was a huge selection of Star Trek novels. We would go there, find a couple of those. As children, our moms used to bribe us with the promise of a new book from Walden Books for good behavior when she needed to run errands at the mall. 10 years old us would count down the days until we could get the new Goosebumps book when it came out. Bookstores, game stores, music stores, toy stores. You don't see much of any of them anymore in malls. Number 24. KB Toys. Children of earlier times would recall KB Toys made boring trips to the mall totally worth it. The section of the mall all parents tried to skip. Can you still hear the little fuzzy walking battery-powered toys they used to have by the register? There were pigs, cats, dogs, etc. And they'd make repetitive squeaking noises as they bumped around a little corral-style plastic display.
On March 4, 1933, Lawrence Hoyt, a former sales manager for Simon & Schuster and Melvin Kafka, opened a rental library.
The dog was the one that would do the fake bark 3 to 4 times and then do a backflip. We all saw PlayStation 1 for the first time, probably in a KB toy store. And one of our memories of this store was being in line at the release of GTA San Andreas. Can you recall the prices of these toys? Let's unlock our memories with this ad featuring KB Toys Special. There is often this question: if you had a time machine, which specific moment from history would you experience again? Unsurprisingly, we would select the excited moment of getting a new toy or game. Amazing days they were. You might be confused in KB Toys and KB Toys, so let's be clear. KB Toys, also known as KB Toys, was an American chain of mall-based retail toy stores. The company was founded in 1922 as Kaufman Brothers, a wholesale candy store. The company opened a wholesale toy store in 1946 and ended its candy wholesales 2 years later to emphasize its toy products. In 1999, the company operated 1,324 stores across the United States and was the second largest toy retailer in the U.S., but it later declared bankruptcy in both 2004 and 2008 before going out of business on February 9, 2009. Number 23. Ames Department Stores. The Ames commercial from the early 90s might evoke nostalgia for the older people who went there all the time. Ames Department Stores was a chain of discount stores based in the United States. The company was founded in 1958 with a store in Southbridge, Massachusetts.
As the 70s came in, Ames continued to expand steadily in the Northeast United States.
And at its peak operated 700 stores in 20 states. Despite some success in its later years, Ames was plagued by debt via acquisition decisions and a slow decline in sales in the new global market and suburban developments. This resulted in 2 bankruptcy filings that ultimately put an end to the chain. The company, despite expanding into other markets and taking over many closed stores abandoned by competitors, went out of business in 2002. It is accurate to say Ames was Walmart before Walmart came to town. You might remember Hill's store. Some people would argue Hill's was better than Ames. Anyways, can you guess what the interior look of the Ames was? The interior of Ames had a dated look with a very white interior. Target is white also, but with a lot of red accents. Red is the color that encourages buying. Ames used to sell clothes, shoes, food, pharmaceutical stuff, accessories such as jackets, scarves, hats, and gloves, etc. You will be cherished to know that Ames is making its comeback to bring back the memories of the child world. On January 7, 2024, Ames announced on X that a new date has been confirmed. New storefronts will begin opening their doors in June 2026, with a total of 35 stores opening through 2026 and 2027 per the statement. Number 22. B. Dalton Bookstore. B. Dalton Bookseller was an American retail bookstore chain founded in 1966 by Bruce Dayton, a member of the same family that operated the Dayton's department store chain. B. Dalton expanded to become the largest retailer of hardcover books in the United States. B. Dalton competed primarily with Walden Books.
B. Dalton Bookseller was a retail bookstore chain that started in 1966 and closed in 2013.
Barnes & Noble acquired the chain from Dayton's in 1987 and continued to operate it until a late 2009 announcement that the last 50 stores would be liquidated by January 2010. Imagine standing in the store looking at all the different Babysitter Club books and other books like that, reading cool books, and the seats that you could sit on in the child area, reading all the bookmarks that were on the rack next to the checkout while our mom or dad was paying. In the ancient days of the late 80s and early 90s, before online ordering, bookstores were where we had to go to get new books, and if the nearest one was far away, we had to go with our friends. It was always a fun group trip with our friends to check out and hopefully buy the newest books. Happy times. We really miss stores like these. In fact, we are really sad the malls are dying out altogether. Number 21, Hills Department Store. We hope these models bring some happy memories back from the Hills store. Hills was a discount department store chain based in Canton, Massachusetts. It was founded in 1957 in Youngstown, Ohio, and existed until 1999 when it was acquired by Ames. Most stores were located in Ohio, Indiana, New York, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, though the company did make a push into other markets. It pushed further south and had several stores there. Here are more visuals of a person driving to Hills Department Store in South Hills Village in 1986. The smell of the popcorn from the popcorn section is burned into our brains. Nothing was better than walking in from the blistering cold to a blast of warm air and that smell. Our moms always told us that if we were good, we could have a treat before we left. You will recall when we were kids,
which was not good for the now struggling Hill chain. In December of that year, Ames would acquire Hills, which was by then running 155 locations.
We would sometimes spend summer days with our grandparents while our parents worked. They took us to shopping places every single day. The toy section of the Hills store was off the charts. We used to run straight to the toys. The nachos were also out of this world. Number 20, Ben Franklin. Remember the days of plastic costumes? If you wanted to be a ghost, you'd buy a garbage bag with a sleeve that had a picture of a ghost on it. If anybody was confused, that's okay because it said ghost in big letters. You might have memories of those costumes you bought from Ben Franklin. In the 70s and 80s, Ben Franklin stores were everywhere. Not so much anymore after a bankruptcy in the 90s. They had a little bit of everything, and that's why we used to walk to our local store after school just to kill time. They had the coolest stuff there. Did anyone else spend entirely too much time and money at their local Ben Franklin store? Furthermore, they were the only place this wonderful gum was available. Also, they used to sell a ton of cards back then, and when Pogs became a thing, they sold those. We also remember buying individual pieces of Bazooka Joe bubblegum and other candy, but you could get a good-sized sucker for 10 cents. Number 19, Leesmere. Here is Leesmere's final farewell. Leesmere was a Massachusetts-based chain of retail stores that closed in 1997. At the time of its closing, it had 27 stores, including 20 in New England. The chain offered electronics, appliances, and various household goods. It also had locations in New York and the southeastern United States. On August 1, 1997, Montgomery Ward announced that all Leesmere stores were to be closed as part of their bankruptcy reorganization.
Laughlin is said to have paid her $150,000 fine and completed the required 150 hours of community service as part of her sentence.
At the time of the chain's closing, 27 stores remained open. Leesmere was an amazing place. You could buy a booklet of 20 video rental coupons for $20 back before Blockbuster when it was $4 or $5 to rent a movie from the local video store. They sold really good audio equipment like Carver. We loved that place. As kids, we always hung out in Leesmere's AV section and played with the camcorders. Number 18, Masimo. Do you remember when clothes were of extremely high quality? Our decade-old t-shirts were starting to wear out now, and we are upset because we can't find any t-shirts like them anywhere. They're so soft and comfortable. One of the defunct brands which sold quality clothing was Masimo. They used to make 100% merino wool sweaters every winter, and for summer, almost everything was all cotton and linen. Now everything is plastic, acrylic, and poly. Masimo was a sportswear and accessories company, founded in 1986 by designer Massimo Giannulli. Massimo specialized in youth and teenage clothing such as shirts, jeans, jackets, socks, and accessories. Massimo was founded in 1986 by Massimo Giannulli on Balboa Island in Newport Beach, California. Giannulli dropped out of the University of Southern California in 1987 to create his Massimo streetwear line with a $100,000 loan from his father. Initially, Massimo worked independently but later started selling its products at Target. Number 17, Fri Electronics. Do you remember tooling around in Fri's Electronics store, looking at all the hardware you wished you could afford? Fri's Electronics was an American big box store chain. It was headquartered in San Jose, California in Silicon Valley.
Probably be Micro Center. So that is a pretty awesome store, right? They had the reputation of being a one-stop shop.
Fri's retailed software, consumer electronics, household appliances, tools, accessories, electronic components, and computer hardware, etc. Fri's had in-store computer repair and custom computer building services. Fri's began with one store in Sunnyvale, California, and expanded to 34 stores in 9 states at its peak in 2019. On February 24, 2021, Fri's filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, announcing the immediate and permanent closure of all its stores. Fri's was a cool place to look out for the electronics. It was a great place because it was the only store we could actually find most of the computer peripherals we saw on the internet. The selection of mice, keyboards, and gaming headsets was staggering. We would buy 2 mice knowing that we were going to return the one we liked the least. We informed them of this and they always said no problem. However, in the last decade of their operation, people started complaining about their service. Number 16, Woolworth. Remember the good old days when everyone headed to Woolworths? Let's take a trip down memory lane and explore what made this iconic store so special. What was Woolworths like, you ask? Think B&M or Wilkinson's, but with town center locations. From the legendary Pick and Mix and Chad Valley toys to the affordable homeware and a fantastic selection of music and video, Woolworths had something for everyone, including great fry-ups in the restaurant too. Woolworths was always the first destination at Christmas as well. If you had a Christmas tree during the 1970s, it is highly likely that it came from Woolworths. During the late 1990s, a lot of other retailers and stores started selling a lot of the same products that Woolworths was selling.
Woolworth opened another store in Lancaster, Pennsylvania in 1879.
Increasing competition. At the beginning of 2009, most Woolworths stores in America were closing, and in the following years, Woolworths was completely closed. Number 15, British Home Stores. A list of shops that we wish were still around would not be complete without mentioning the British Home Stores. The British Home Stores, for many years, was one of the most loved and most frequently visited stores in the United Kingdom, a fixture on the high streets of the UK, which we all thought would be around forever. Although the British Home Stores was a British company, it was founded by a group of American businessmen, with the first store opening in Brixton in 1928. Much like its rivals, the Woolworths, the British Home Stores were a retail company, selling a bit of everything, with clothes and homeware being their main category of products. One thing many people from the 1970s would remember is the great full English breakfast available in their restaurants. In April 2016, 13 months after purchase by Retail Acquisitions, the company entered administration following unsuccessful attempts to continue trading. It was eventually wound down, and all stores were closed by late August 2016 following failed attempts to find a buyer. Number 14, C&A. Although a fondly remembered name not only from the USA, but also the British High Street, C&A was actually founded in the Netherlands as a textile company in 1841. The initials in the company name stand for Clement and August, the first names of the Bredicke-Meyer brothers, who are the founders of the company. Though many people in the 1970s initially thought it stood for coats and hats,
I guess I'm always annoying.
When I want to do something my way.
Like getting fake clip-on piercings.
Hälla salt I kaffet.
Even after knowing what it stood for, they preferred the former as it has a much better ring to it. C&A stores hit the Americas in 1966, while the British High Street in 1922, and quickly became one of the most popular fashion retailers in both the countries. The classic 1970s C&A advert perfectly captured the vibrant, fun spirit of C&A during that era. By the end of the 20th century, the chain had more than 200 stores across the UK and the US. However, by this time, the brand was seen as behind the times and began to lose out to rivals such as Madeline and supermarkets who were now selling clothing too. Although there are now no C&A stores left in Britain and America, the chain still very much exists in other European countries. Number 13, Blockbuster. Remember the joy of walking into a Blockbuster video store? The excitement of wandering through aisles filled with endless rows of movies and video games, and the anticipation of a movie night. In a time before Steam, it was the go-to place for kids in the 70s and 80s to get their Xbox and PlayStation games. They would rent out consoles, and if you asked and they had a spare, you could buy a used one. Blockbuster was a store that opened the many worlds of Final Fantasy to kids back then, who would have no access to such exhilarating games, catchy music, and entertaining movies. Sometimes you'd get there to find out there are no more copies of the new movie you want, but then after disappointment rears its head, you're occasionally surprised at checkout. Oh, someone just returned a copy of X. Here you go. That was the best feeling. Blockbuster Video filed for bankruptcy in 2010, and many thought it was the end of the chain, noted for its brightly lit stores and blue and yellow color scheme. A few stores hung on for another 9 years, but today, the last Blockbuster on Earth is in Bend, Oregon. Number 12, Kmart. The excitement of finding everything you needed in one place, from electronics and toys to clothing and home decor, made Kmart a special destination. For 60 years, Kmart was America's saving place, a store that combined value with a wide selection of products. It wasn't just about shopping, it was about the anticipation of great deals and the satisfaction of discovering new items. We always liked going to Kmart when we were kids in the early 70s. They had everything you could want, and everyone shopped there, but for some reason no one wanted to admit it. Kmart never had the reputation for dirty tricks that Walmart does.
So if you didn't know walking in, you'd never know where you were. It really didn't strike me as being Kmart.
And regular Kmart shoppers from back in the day would definitely remember the Kmart Blue Light Special. Attention Kmart shoppers, the flashing blue light of savings is in our electronics department, where now and for the next 10 minutes only, a Sanyo boombox is on sale for only $29.88. Number 11, Zayre. Who remembers the iconic discount retail store Zayre's? Millennials would definitely have plenty of childhood and teen years memories visiting these stores, which certainly had a Midwest presence. Zayre was one of the go-to destinations for families seeking quality goods at affordable prices. Our grandparents often reminisced about their Saturday morning trips to Zayre. They would browse through the aisles, excited to discover bargains on everything from clothing to home essentials. My dad vividly recalls saving up his allowance to buy his first baseball glove from Zayre, a purchase that ignited his lifelong love of the game. Though, they were also notorious for employing bait and switch tactics on sale merchandise with regularity. For instance, the 6-pack of Brawny paper towels was on sale for $2.99. Then they'd build a huge display of 8-pack Brawny towels with no price card. Although Zayre has been gone for decades, the memories of those treasured finds and the excitement of a successful shopping trip linger on, making us wish this beloved store were still around. Number 10, Borders Bookstore. Borders bookstores were cozy havens for book lovers and music enthusiasts alike. It had a charm that Barnes & Noble couldn't quite replicate. Nestled in Ann Arbor, Michigan, Borders was more than just a bookstore. It was a literary sanctuary. Picture those plush couches and chairs inviting you to sink in with a cup of coffee.
The cost of real estate and other costs that Barnes & Noble was shouldering.
And it sunk a lot of money trying to keep pace.
Leisurely flipping through pages. One of the unique delights was browsing through CDs in the music section, where you could sample tracks using giant headphones. It was a place discovering new authors and artists felt like a personal journey, enhanced by knowledgeable staff eager to recommend their favorites. In today's digital age, where convenience often trumps ambience, the nostalgia for Borders lingers. We miss the tactile joy of exploring shelves and the simple pleasure of losing ourselves in a good book, making us yearn for the return of this cherished bookstore. Number 9, Tower Records. Tower Records was another iconic store that sold various entertainment delights. From movies to music, games, and beyond, Tower had it all. The Mountain View store especially was legendary for its eclectic Zine collection, a great place for music enjoyers to browse and find their favorite song and artists. I miss the thrill of flipping through records, uncovering hidden gems, and engaging with knowledgeable staff who shared their passion for music. Due to this, Tower Records was often the epicenter of musical education for many students who pursued the art. For those lucky enough to work there in the 80s, like many did, Tower offered more than a paycheck. It provided a unique freedom. Employees could express themselves through their attire and hairstyles, standing out in various subcultures. It was a place where music lovers converged, where conversations sparked and friendships formed over shared tastes. Tower Records may be gone, but its impact on our musical journeys remains profound. Number 8, Circuit City. Circuit City was more than just a consumer electronics store.
It's my prayer that your family is filled with a profound peace this holiday season. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
It was a quirky and exciting destination that left a lasting impression on many of us. Whether browsing for the latest gadgets or investing in cutting-edge car stereo systems, Circuit City was the place to go for tech enthusiasts of all ages in the 70s and 80s. Despite its flaws, like mismanagement and questionable sales practices, Circuit City held a unique charm. It was a place where teenagers could dream about the latest video games and home entertainment setups, eagerly anticipating each new release. Many children in the 70s and 80s who were into gaming grew up loitering in the aisles, exploring CDs, DVDs, and marveling at the latest in home electronics. The best part was making friends with like-minded people and staff who would often help in choosing the best, flashiest, and loudest equipment for gaming setups. Number 7, Grandpa Pigeon. Grandpa's, founded by Tom and Mildred Pigeon in 1954, was a beloved discount store that left a lasting impression across the Midwest from its origins in Bridgetown, Missouri. Grandpa Pigeon would remind any millennial of a typical Saturday in the 1980s with their dads visiting grandpas, where the shopping experience was straightforward yet memorable. They would recall the unique routine of the staff checking credit cards in a book and using an old-fashioned knucklebuster for transactions, a testament to simpler times. The Grandpa's location on Watson and Chippewa stands out for its extensive and affordable selection. We distinctively remember our parents purchasing gifts for us on layaway, a practical solution that allowed us to budget responsibly.
The gel has a multi-sensory effect. Pigeons looking at them see something dangerous, like smoke or fire.
Just like its rivals, Woolworths and the British home stores, one could stumble upon anything in Grandpa Pigeon's. Hence, exploring its aisles, never knowing what unexpected find awaited, was something that millennials did a lot in these stores. Number 6. Mvin's. Mvin's, founded by Mvin G. Morris in Hayward, California, held a special place in many hearts as a dependable department store chain. Memories flooded back to early mornings on the day after Thanksgiving, well, before it was dubbed Black Friday, when Mvin's opened its doors at 7 a.m. It was a tradition for families like ours, where our mom would eagerly shop for Bugle Boy clothes for us. One iconic memory is the Mvin's commercial featuring a woman eagerly waiting at the store's entrance, chanting, "Open, open, open." This exemplified the excitement and anticipation of Mvin's generated among shoppers. What made Mvin's unique was its affordable yet stylish clothing lines that catered to families. Many millennials nowadays miss the straightforward shopping experience and the reliable quality Mvin's offered. Beyond clothing, Mvin's was known for its home goods and seasonal decor, providing everything from back-to-school essentials to festive holiday decorations. Number 5. Service merchandise. Service merchandise was a quintessential part of growing up in the 80s, blending the excitement of shopping with a touch of futuristic wonder. As a kid, wandering through its catalog showrooms was like exploring a treasure trove, where you could find everything from jewelry to electronics and toys that seemed unique to service merchandise. We fondly remember how our entire childhood seemed to be furnished with their offerings.
Models, getting back to the original concepts that made them so successful to begin with, as well as adjusting to new retail trends.
One of the most fascinating aspects was the checkout process, placing an order and then watching your purchase magically appear on a conveyor belt from the mysterious back room. It felt like a glimpse into the future, akin to today's online shopping experiences. Service merchandise was ahead of its time, offering a mix of convenience and excitement that made each visit memorable. Today, as we navigate a world of online shopping giants, many would find themselves nostalgic for the personal touch that service merchandise brought to shopping, a blend of innovation and charm that remains unmatched. Number 4. Sears. Who else got most of their fashions from the Sears catalog? Sears was more than a department store. It was a pioneer that shaped American shopping habits. In the mid-20th century, the Sears catalog was the Amazon of its time, offering everything from appliances to prefab houses that could be shipped directly to your local freight dock. Our parents often reminisced about how Sears credit accounts were accessible, helping them establish credit to eventually buy a home. Many people would remember the thrill of flipping through the Sears catalog, marveling at the endless possibilities it offered. Ordering was straightforward, payment by personal check or money order, with larger items collected at the dock. Sears not only provided goods but also fostered a sense of trust and reliability in its transactions. Reflecting on Sears' journey, it's clear they had the potential to dominate online retailing. The nostalgia for Sears isn't just about the products, it's about what could have been, a continuation of their legacy as a trailblazer in American retail. Number 3. Hastings. For many like myself, Hastings was the gateway to discovering new forms of entertainment. We would still vividly recall playing Duke Nukem for the first time at their kiosk, which sparked a lifelong love for video games. One of the unique aspects of Hastings was its Friday evening tradition, a keg available for customers to enjoy while browsing movies and games. It wasn't just a store, it was an experience that brought families together, like when our dads would take us to pick out a movie while he savored a beer. This personalized touch made Hastings feel like more than a retail outlet. It felt like a community gathering spot. Hastings was also particularly known for having a huge collection of movies, a bigger collection than Tower Records as well. The two stores were often seen together and had quite the competition too. And while Tower Records was known for its music database, nobody could beat Hastings in its movies collection. Number 2. Hickory Farms. Hickory Farms was an iconic food gift retailer that would bring back memories of Christmas and other holiday traditions. We remember eagerly anticipating Christmas when friends would send their signature gift box filled with savory delights like salami, cheeses, and crackers. Despite finding it both indulgent and irresistible, Hickory Farms was a treat reserved for special occasions, cherished for its robust flavors and memories made around the sample trays. Visiting the mall often meant catching a whiff of Hickory Farms before seeing it, a delicious smell that drew you in for their famous free samples. It was a ritual for our friends to be dropped off at the mall on weekends, where we'd spend hours wandering and inevitably stopping by Hickory Farms for a taste of their latest offerings.
Tires here.
Shears, to be specific.
I have some shears here. Chandler, you can clip one string of lights.
Yeah! The dip mixes were a hit too. Many people from the 70s and 80s would still remember the creamy green onion flavor that made every gathering special. Number 1. Comp USA. Back in the 70s and 80s, Comp USA was a gateway to the world of computers and PCs. Almost every other child in the 70s and 80s had their first computer bought from Comp USA. They would still recall the distinct smell of fresh plastic when entering, a scent that signaled new possibilities, and the excitement of unboxing cutting-edge technology. It was at Comp USA where we discovered games like State of Emergency, unavailable at the other stores, and where we first experienced the joy of unwrapping a brand new computer game with its glossy box and pristine discs. One of Comp USA's standout offerings was their in-house brand of PCs, like the budget-friendly Compudyne series, which packed surprising specs for their price. The bundles they offered were legendary. Our friends were getting PCs in the 90s bundled with top-tier games like SimCity and Descent, along with educational software like Compton's Encyclopedia, all at an unbeatable value. These are the 25 lost shops we wish were still around. Comment below if you think we missed your favorite shops or stores. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.